Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Eat Vegas, your guide to the good, the bad, and the delicious. Today, I'm sharing a little secret that many locals have known about for years. One of the best, if not the best deals you'll find anywhere in Las Vegas. Every Wednesday, an iconic hotel steeped in history rolls out an irresistible offer. 50% off for guests aged 50 and over. It's called the 50-50 deal, and there's a good reason locals are tight-lipped about it. Welcome to Siegel's 1941 at the El Cortez. It's like taking a trip back in time. A landmark that predates the Strip itself, built in 1941. It's a veritable time capsule. The moment you step inside, you're transported to the days when the mobsters openly ran the town, showgirls shimmered under the dim lights, and free alcohol flowed like running water. You'll find original neon signs, vintage fixtures, and a dash of retro glam that's an homage to the past. Today, we're going to sample every item on the 50-50 menu. So, let's get started. Here we have old school roast chicken, the kind that feels like a childhood Sunday dinner. Whole chicken slowly roasted alongside hearty root vegetables of carrots, potatoes, and celery, and infused with fragrant herbs and seasoning. The skin has that deep golden caramelization, crackling beautifully under the fork, while the meat stays tender and juicy on the inside. Roast chicken holds a special place in American food history. It's a dish that crossed the ocean with European immigrants and settled into kitchens across the country, becoming a symbol of home-cooked comfort. From Depression-era farm tables to mid-century suburban dining rooms, it's a meal that's always found a way to fit the times. This version honors that tradition well, served in its own natural juices, just like your grandmother might have done. The flavor is rich and full of savory umami from the roasting process. The potatoes, while nicely crisped on the outside and fluffy within, could use a bit more seasoning. Same with the carrots and celery. Maybe they were going for a lighter hand to please the salt-wary crowd. Even so, it's a plate of pure comfort, the kind of classic American dish you'd find from coast to coast. Simple, nostalgic, and satisfying. This is a version that leans gourmet while keeping that nostalgic comfort food vibe intact. Excellent. According to YouTube, only 20% of those watching right now are subscribed. Subscribing is free, and it greatly helps this channel grow and allow us to bring you more reviews. So please take a moment to subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. This isn't just any omelet. It's a big, fluffy 3-egg creation that comes loaded with your choice of bacon, sausage, onions, cheese, or peppers. You get to pick 3 for the base price, and after that, each extra ingredient, add $2 to the bill. I went with sausage, peppers, and American cheese. It also comes with a side of hash browns and your choice of toast. I went with the rye. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge omelet person. Eggs stuffed with stuff just aren't usually my thing. But I have to admit, this one surprised me. The eggs were light and airy, and the sausage and peppers gave it a nice punch of flavor. The cheese was perfectly melty, holding everything together like a warm, gooey hug. The hash browns? Absolute diner perfection. Crispy edges, soft inside, maybe a little greasier than necessary, but the flavor was top-notch. And the toast? Nothing homemade or fancy, but when you slather on some whipped butter and raspberry jelly, does the job just fine. Overall, if you love a good hearty diner breakfast, this omelet plate delivers. Even for someone like me, who's not big on omelets, I can see why people go for it. I've eaten at Siegel's countless times over the years, but to be honest, fish isn't something I've ever ordered here. Given the reputation diners have for being lesser creatures than regular restaurants, something which can go so bad, such as fish, well, I usually shy away. Let's face it, when fish is bad, it's bad. But since we're working our way through the 50-50 menu today, I had to try it. And so very glad I gave this a chance. Just look at this fish. Lightly breaded and pan-fried, it's cooked the way they might have done it back in the 1940s. Simple and modest seasoning with a side of classic lemon caper sauce. On its own, the fish is tender and mild, but add a squeeze of lemon and a generous swipe of that bright, briny sauce, and it instantly levels up. This actually reminds me of something you'd get at a Woolworth's cafeteria back in the day. That's a little nostalgic throwback for anyone old enough to remember. The fish is moist, never fishy, with plump flaky meat and just a trace of ocean brininess. The lemon caper sauce doesn't hold back. It's bold, tangy, and in-your-face sharp. The perfect pairing to turn up the volume on this delicate fish. The rice pilaf on the side adds a gentle aromatic balance that tames some of that bright acidity. And the spinach? Fresh, perfectly cooked, and seasoned just right. I'm so glad I gave this dish a chance. It's old school comfort food with a touch of elegance, and I think you'll love it as much as I do. This isn't just any salad. It's a Cobb salad, a dish with more drama and history than a soap opera. Born in the late 1930s at a legendary Brown Derby restaurant in Hollywood. Have you been to the Brown Derby? Please leave a comment. I'd love to hear any Brown Derby stories. The Cobb came to life when owner Bob Cobb, yes, that's really his name, raided the kitchen for a midnight snack. He grabbed whatever he could find: lettuce, tomato, avocado, bacon, chicken, or in this case turkey, hard-boiled egg, blue cheese, and a splash of dressing. And just like that, the Cobb salad was born. A-listers fell in love, and the rest is salad history. Now, back to this turkey Cobb. It's practically a meal for two, unless you're starving, as I usually am, in which case it's barely doable. The turkey, so fresh it might have gobbled its last gobble earlier this morning. The ranch dressing is made from scratch, because ranch snobs can taste the difference. And the veggies are crisp enough to fill the heart of even the most gentle rabbit with a covetous rage. The avocado? Absolute perfection. Creamy, buttery, the stuff of dreams. The blue cheese crumbles add a funky kick that keeps things interesting, and the tomatoes bring that bright burst of acidity every salad needs. And then there's the bacon. Applewood smoked, smoky as a backyard barbecue, and worth the price of admission all by itself. Every time I eat this, I swear it's as though a beautiful deconstructed BLT threw a wild party and woke up to find a turkey laying by its side. I hate when that happens. Delicious, satisfying, and one of the best deals in town. Only in Hollywood could a salad achieve stardom. Siegel's has a reputation for serving some of the best steaks and prime rib in town, and this dish proves why. This has been one of my go-to orders for years, and trust me, they know their way around a steak. They used a beautiful New York strip, always tender, and so juicy it practically glistens. The crust, perfection with a wonderful char. Honestly, you barely need a knife. Every bite is packed with rich beef umami that reminds you why steak and eggs became a classic in the first place. Then there are the hash browns. These are legendary. Crisp to golden brown glory with serious flavor. Not those sad, pale potatoes some places try to pass off. And the eggs? Fresh, cooked just right, and honestly, with the price of eggs these days, they might be worth as much as the steak. At $15.50, this is a steal, and your taste buds will thank you. Since Siegel's oozes that old-school Jewish mob vibe, skipping the matzo ball soup would practically be a crime. And not just any soup. This is that soul-healing, cold-fighting, Bubby-approved elixir known as Jewish penicillin. Matzo ball soup has been warming hearts and curing hangovers for generations. Its roots trace back to Eastern Europe, where Jewish grandmothers perfected the art of turning humble scraps into liquid gold. When Jewish immigrants came to America, they brought the recipe with them, and it quickly became a deli staple from New York to Los Angeles. Today, it's less about survival and more about pure comfort. Here, during the 50/50 special, you can get a steaming bowl for just $6.50. The deal's so good, it feels like outright theft. The broth is outrageously rich, bursting with deep golden chicken flavor. This is the real deal broth, made the old-fashioned way, packed with so many chicken carcasses you'd swear they cleaned out the whole coop. My mother knew the same chef's trick. Barely any water, lots of bones, and a slow simmer until every drop of flavor surrenders into the pot. Now, let's talk matzo balls. They're light, fluffy, and perfectly seasoned with schmaltz. That's chicken fat for the uninitiated. Salt, pepper, matzo meal, and eggs. You get one oversized beauty bobbing in the broth, alongside tender chunks of chicken, sweet carrots, and tender celery. Some people like their matzo balls dense enough to warp time, but these are the opposite, delicate, airy, and floating. This is a bowl of pure comfort, the kind that wraps you up like a warm blanket. Whether you've got a cold, a broken heart, a raging hangover, or just a craving for something that tastes like home, this soup delivers. Trust me, you're gonna love it. Today I went rogue and ordered my eggs scrambled instead of my usual. They arrived fluffy, warm, and seasoned just right. A few hits of hot sauce, and I was off to the races. The breakfast potatoes, beautifully crisped on the outside, soft and creamy inside. Textbook execution. And yes, I brought my own homemade ketchup, because I don't mess around. The bacon, though, a bit of a letdown. It had zero crunch and a strange, overly smoky flavor, like someone used a campfire air freshener. Maybe my taste buds were on high alert, but it leaned toward artificial smokiness. The confusing thing is how this bacon was nothing like the bacon on the Cobb salad. Has me wanting to take a tour of the kitchen to investigate further. Anyway, ever curious? How do you like your bacon? Crispy or chewy like jerky? Let me know in the comments below. The rye toast was solid, and the strawberry jam, clearly not homemade, but still managed to impress with its bright, fresh taste and generous fruit chunks. Sometimes, store-bought gets it close enough. From the moment this burger landed on the table, I knew there was going to be trouble. The bun looked like it was hijacked off a slider, tiny compared to the full-size patty it was woefully incapable of containing. Still, possibly better than the reverse. I switched things up and went with pepper jack instead of my usual American, trying to live a little. But here's the truth. This burger is a bust. The bun was stale, hard enough to double as a doorstop. This was my first time trying the El Cortez Burger, and honestly, almost assuredly, my last. At least it was cooked to a proper rare as requested. But flavor-wise, it was as bland as unbuttered toast at a nun's retreat. No salt, no seasoning, no spark. As for the fries, they came out pale, undercooked, and floppy. I usually ask for them well done, and these, well, they were in serious need of another stint in the fryer. I hate to even waste my homemade ketchup on these. Anyway, as a whole, this plate wildly disappointed. And now, a brief departure from this review's theme. Though not part of the Wednesday 50-50 deal, the prime rib is still a knockout at just under $20. Available 24/7, it's worth the trip alone. I order it nearly every time I'm here. It's a wonderful habit. It's reliably tender with rich, bold umami flavor and a seasoned fat cap that's pure gold. I asked for it rare. It leaned a little medium rare, but it still hit the spot. As always, you order it your way, no judgment here. The vegetables were serviceable, not exactly life-changing, but seasoned well enough to count as a vegetable serving. The potatoes were creamy garlic mashed, and I'm all in. That said, I can still hear my dad's voice from the 70s, grumbling every time he saw mashed potatoes on a menu. He'd always ask the server,
I hope you don't ruin those mashed potatoes by putting garlic in them. Nothing worse than garlic and mashed potatoes.
Well, sorry, Dad. The rest of the world and I love them. The gravy here? Silky, savory, and downright addictive. I highly recommend the prime rib. 9 times out of 10, it's spot on. Even good restaurants have their off days. But this dish rarely misses. Let's take a moment to talk about bread pudding, a dessert that's older than the United States. Born out of frugality in the 11th century Europe, it started as a way to rescue stale bread by soaking it in a custard of eggs and milk, then baking it into something comforting and crave-worthy. Over time, it made its way into southern kitchens, where bourbon, raisins, cinnamon, and heavy cream turned it into a soulful classic. This version is a fine tribute to that legacy. Dense, warm, and loaded with rich custard flavor, plump raisins, and a bold hit of cinnamon. The scoop of vanilla bean ice cream, which I'm fairly certain is Haagen-Dazs, melts luxuriously over the top, creating that perfect hot-cold contrast. Is it the best in Vegas? Not quite. That title has to go to the one down the street at Carson Kitchen. But for $5.50, it's a nostalgic, comforting treat at an unbeatable price.
That's not to like.
Despite the name, German chocolate cake isn't from Germany at all. It actually dates back to 1957, when a Texas homemaker submitted a recipe to a Dallas newspaper using German sweet chocolate, a baking company developed by Samuel German for the Baker's Chocolate Company in the 1850s. Anyway, the name stuck, and the rich layered cake with coconut pecan frosting became an American classic. Unfortunately, this version is a letdown. It's one of the weakest takes on German chocolate cake I've come across. The chocolate flavor is barely there, and somehow it still manages to be overly sweet with odd artificial notes. The coconut layer is chewy in a bad way, and there's none of that signature caramelized depth that should make this frosting sing. It's flat, forgettable, and not worth the calories. Do yourself a favor and go for the apple cobbler coming up next. This one is a slice of disappointment. This final dessert is pure comfort, bursting with that warm, homemade flavor that feels like a hug from the past. Long before it made its way into the 50/50 menu, we'd come here just for this. It's easily one of my all-time favorite desserts, and for good reason. The recipe feels like a page torn straight from my childhood. It reminds me of the apple crumble my grandmother used to make, the one she was known for. One bite takes me back to carefree days at my grandparents' house. I can still see my granddad in the backyard picking apples from the tree, so full it looked ready to topple over. And inside, my grandmother in the kitchen, filling the house with the smell of cinnamon, sugar, and love. This apple crumble captures all of that. It's warm, cozy, and packed with down-home goodness. You get rich notes of cinnamon, nutmeg, and brown sugar, layered into tender apples and topped with a buttery crumble that melts into the flaky crust. The scoop of vanilla bean ice cream on top slowly softens into the crumble, creating a perfect bite every time. It's messy, it's nostalgic, and it's irresistible. You'll want to linger over every spoonful, you'll want to make it last, you'll want to order another. I've done it before, and I promise, once you try it, you'll be back for more. Siegel's 1941 isn't just a restaurant, it's a taste of classic Vegas, served with a side of nostalgia. The atmosphere feels like a wink to the past. Low lighting, tufted booths, and a soundtrack that harkens back to the Rat Pack for something smoother. It's old school in all the right ways. And on Wednesdays, that story gets even better. The 50/50 deal, 50% off for guests aged 50 and over, is hands down one of the best bargains in town. We're talking full plates of comfort food, generous portions, and real flavor at prices resurrected from yesteryear, back when prime rib and a baked potato ruled the dinner table. No coupons, no gimmicks, just a straightforward deal that rewards age with taste for tasteful agers. We sampled the entire menu, and there were so many hits, it's hard to choose the dish of the day. There was a soul-warming matzo ball soup, an inventive and imaginative Cobb salad, the quintessential steak and eggs at just $15.50, and two amazing, comforting, delicious desserts. But today, the dish of the day has to go to the Basa. Yes, a totally unexpected surprise that fired on all cylinders. Moist, tender, flaky, with not a hint of fishiness, and of course, a killer sauce to go with it. Don't miss out. So if you're 50 or over, consider this your weekly jackpot. And be sure to bring a friend, as this is the kind of deal worth making a standing date for. I know we'll be back on a Wednesday very soon. Who knows, maybe you'll see us there. And make sure to tell them, Let's Eat Vegas sent you. This would be a good time to hit the notifications bell so you get a reminder when the next review becomes available. And of course, it's always a good time to like, subscribe, comment, or share It's free to do so, and it helps us to grow and to bring you more reviews. Until we eat again, bon appetit!